Russia has suffered huge losses in eastern Ukraine after launching a massive assault around the city of Avdiivka. President Volodymyr Zelensky claimed Russia had lost hundreds of armored vehicles. Ukrainian officials described a ferocious Russian attack which involved heavy armor and huge artillery bombardments in and around the city. Speaking on Ukrainian TV, the head of the military administration in Avdiivka Vitaliy Barabash reported the fighting has been non-stop. He said, "The battles have been going on for 4 days now. Fierce and really non-stop. They are firing from everything they have available. It was a very hot night in Avdiivka. There were several airstrikes on the city itself. The attacks do not stop day or night. The assault is one of the few large-scale attacks Russia has mounted since Ukraine began a counter-offensive in June. Officials have said it may be a move to pull Ukrainian soldiers from other fronts." Kyiv said that Moscow had massed troops and armor around the city in an attempt to encircle Ukrainian defenders. Avdiivka lies northwest of occupied Donetsk, which has been under Russian control, via the so-called Donetsk People's Republic, since 2014. Barabash added, "On the first day, October 10th, when they launched the offensive, they used a lot of vehicles. On the second day, not so much. And yesterday they used armored vehicles again. They were moving in columns. They have a lot of vehicles and personnel. They bring in fresh people." Unverified videos posted to social media purport to show Ukrainian fighters attacking Russian vehicles in the region using anti-tank weapons and artillery. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukrainian forces were holding off the Russian attackers. In a post on Telegram, he said, "Avdiivka. We are holding our ground. It is Ukrainian courage and unity that will determine how this war will end. We must all remember this." Later, in his nightly television address, Zelensky claimed Ukrainian fighters had destroyed hundreds of Russian armored vehicles along the eastern front line in the past few days. He added, "I am grateful to every warrior and every unit for their resilience." The fighting in Avdiivka, near Ukraine's eastern front, is very heated as fighting enters its 5th day. The head of the city's military administration, Vitaliy Barabash, said on Ukrainian television, per the news agency Agence France Presse. For the 5th day already, the enemy has not stopped either assaulting or shelling positions around the city. "It is very heated, he said, per the AFP. The city of Avdiivka, just south of the war-torn city of Bakhmut, has long been the target of Russian forces, and fighting has turned the area into a place from post-apocalyptic movies, Ukrainian officials said earlier this year. The city is thought to only have around 1,600 civilians remaining, compared to 31,000 before the war, the AFP reported. They have substantial reserves of personnel and equipment. Avdiivka is completely ablaze, Barabash previously said about the region, the Independent reported. He added that Russia's new push in the area was the largest-scale offensive action in our sector since the full-fledged war began. In an address to the nation on Thursday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky mentioned Avdiivka as the scene of some of the most intense fighting in the country, but he added that Ukrainian brigades had already destroyed hundreds of occupiers' armored vehicles. Insider previously reported that Russia had lost at least 15 tanks and 33 armored vehicles during its new attack on the city. Fighting is also continuing to rage across other parts of the country, with the situation in the northern part of the eastern front having significantly worsened, Alexander Syrsky, the commander of Kyiv's ground forces, said, for Reuters. The main objective of the enemy is the defeat of a grouping of our troops, the encirclement of Kupiansk, and to reach the Oskil River. Syrsky said that there have been dozens of strikes and that Russian forces were attacking near the village of Makivka, Donetsk Oblast, and towards the city of Kupiansk, Kharkiv Oblast. The White House said Friday that Russia has resumed employing the so-called human wave tactic in its war against Ukraine. As was the case during Russia's failed winter offensive last year, the Russian military appears to be using human wave tactics, where they throw masses of poorly trained soldiers right into the battlefield without proper equipment, and, without proper training and preparation, John Kirby, the spokesperson for the National Security Council, said. Ukraine says that its battle-hardened Azov brigade has returned to the front lines in Ukraine and is fighting in the woods of Donetsk. The men can be seen fighting from their trenches in the Serebryansky forest in a video recently published by United 24, a Ukrainian government-run platform. The forest, near the Russian-occupied town of Kremenna, has been the center of some of the war's fiercest fighting as Russia continually carried out assaults. Videos circulated on social media appeared to show Azov attacking Russian positions in the forest. The Azov Brigade was formed as the Azov Battalion in 2014, composed of volunteers who came together to fight pro-Russian forces in the war in Donbass. They were based in Mariupol and played a significant role in defending the city from Russia's invasion in 2022, becoming a symbol of resistance. Azov ultimately withdrew to the Azovstal steel plant, and thousands of Ukrainian soldiers and civilians hid within its walls for weeks as Russia bombarded it. Many Azov fighters were captured during the Battle of Mariupol, and Russia later released some. Among those was a major who goes by the call sign Lemko and is the 1st Special Purposes Battalion commander. A veteran of the Battle of Mariupol, upon his release from Russian captivity, he sprang back into action and took up arms to rebuild the brigade, according to the United 24 video. Other officers in the rebuilt formation were POWs, and veterans make up its backbone, it said. Azov claims in the video that about 700 of their fighters have now been in captivity for over 500 days. The unit has previously drawn controversy over its alleged links to neo-Nazi symbolism and ideology, but some say it has evolved and left behind its more extreme roots, becoming a crucial part of the Ukrainian army. The group often features heavily in Russian propaganda, as the soldiers tell a journalist in the United 24 video, and have been classed as a terrorist organization by Russia since 2022. One soldier with the call sign Marlboro explained what he believed it takes to become an Azov fighter. "You have to be motivated to defend your homeland," he said, "that's the most important thing, and you've got to have balls." The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on October 14 that Russia had lost 286,890 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes 970 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day.